So in this video, we are going to be looking at the emergency powers of the president. The power of the president to promulgate ordinances under Article 123 has already been discussed. These are extraordinary powers meant to be used very rarely. They are not meant to be used in normal circumstances. That is, the powers of ordinances or the powers of emergency, all of these are extraordinary powers. They are not meant to be used under normal circumstances. The Constitution provides that the President can declare three types of emergencies. The first one is the national emergency under Article 352. The second one is the President's rule under Article 356 and 365. And then you have the financial emergency under Article 360. So the national emergency under Article 352 is in case of a war, external aggression or armed rebellion. So a national emergency under Article 352 can be declared only in case of a war, external aggression or armed rebellion. The President's rule under Article 356 and 365 can be applied only in the case of a failure of constitutional machinery in the state. The failure of constitutional machinery is not defined. However, it is up to the governor to send a report to the president saying that there is a failure of constitutional machinery in the state. So the report of the governor to the president will convey whether there is a failure of constitutional machinery or not. Again, this is also subject to judicial review. We will see that as we go ahead in the videos to come. So the third one is the financial emergency in case of a threat to the financial stability of the country. So Article 360 allows the president to impose financial emergency in case of a threat to the financial stability of the country. The emergency powers are contained from Articles 352 to Article 360. These powers are extraordinary in nature, as we saw before. They bypass the appropriate representatives elected by the people in the decision-making process of legislation and administration. The need for such powers has been debated upon and the reasoning is quite clear. These powers are meant to guard the Constitution, safeguard the sovereignty, unity, integrity and security of the country and its democratic political system. So, there is also reasoning that has been given as to why there exist the emergency powers. Emergency powers have to be used only under emergency situations. They are not to be used under normal circumstances because they bypass the appropriate representatives elected by the people in the decision-making process of legislation and administration. The need for such powers has been debated upon and the reasoning is quite clear that these powers are meant to safeguard the Constitution, safeguard the sovereignty, unity, integrity and security of the country and its democratic political system. So whenever there is an emergency imposed, that is a national emergency is imposed, we see that our federal system of government is transformed into a unitary system of government. So during the national emergency or during the president's rule or even during the financial emergency, we see that the union assumes control of all the states or even a few states if that is necessary. For example, president's rule means it is only upon one of the states. So the union assumes command based on the kind of emergency that is used. So the powers of the state is taken away by the union to itself. The federal system of government is replaced in a sense by a unitary system of government. This happens as part of the declaration of emergency itself and there is no separate need to amend the Constitution to this effect. So the unitary system of government, whatever we are talking about, this is only in theory, that is, there is no actual change as far as the system of government goes, but the powers are being transferred to the union. So quoting Dr. B.R. Ambedkar, all federal systems, including the American system, are placed in a tight mold of federalism. No matter what the circumstances, it cannot change its form and shape. It can never be unitary. On the other hand, The Constitution of India can be both unitary as well as federal, according to the requirements of time and circumstances. In normal times, it is framed to work as a federal system, but in times of emergency, it is so designed so as to make it work as though it is a unitary system. So again, this is one of the features of our flexibility of the Constitution. So there might be circumstances when the union has to be stronger and it has to assume all powers to itself so that law and order is maintained in case of a threat to the national security, or if there is an armed rebellion or external aggression, or if there is a failure of constitutional machinery, or if there is a financial problem in the country. Under such circumstances, the union has to assume power. The Constitution has already made available some provisions for this, and these are the emergency powers that have been given to the president. These powers are meant to tackle difficult situations that a country might face. However, the hitherto story of how these powers have been used, especially the president rule, is shameful to say the least. The president's rule, especially during the Indira Gandhi government, was used wantonly. Even legitimate state governments that were elected through elections were dismissed because Indira Gandhi's government wanted to erect a Congress government in that state. So there has been a lot of misuse of the provisions of the president's rule. However, especially since the last decade, from 2010, we see that president's rule is not being misused, which is a very good development in Indian polity. So from the next video, we will look at national emergency. Thank you.